Welcome to the 2022 Spring Carter Cup World Team Air Hockey Championship. I'm Tim Weissman. I'm here with Jacob Weissman, and I can't tell you how excited I am for this event. It's been many years since we've had a Carter Cup, and it's one of the most exciting events in air hockey.
Yeah, this is the first Carter Cup I've experienced, at least consciously, and it was a blast. And I'm so excited that this event is back. It's been 22 years since the last Carter Cup.
Yeah, team competition in air hockey is very intense, and if you haven't witnessed one, this is a great one for you to watch. Let's take a look at how it plays out. The Carter Cup Team Championship is 5 rounds, split up between singles and doubles. We've got round 1 singles, round 2 doubles, round 3 singles, round 4 doubles, and then round 5 singles. No one can play the same match twice, so it's sort of a round robin type thing. And let's take a look at who the competitors are. We've got Marcos Quintanilla, who is number 15, Doug Howard, number 8, Colin Cummings, of course, who is number 1 in the world, and Vince Sauceda, who's number 4 in the world, and that is team double tap. For the other team, we've got Brian Accrocco, number 9, Jacob Munoz, number 3, you, Jacob Weissman, number 2 in the world, and the great Danny Hynes, 11-time world champion. That's Team Air Parents. Here we go. Let's get right into it. First match, Brian Accrocco versus Colin Cummings. It's an interesting matchup to begin the Carter Cup, to have the number 1 player in the world coming at you right out the gate.
Yes, yeah.
What was the? I know that both teams get together and fill out the roster in a certain order. Was this match chosen by them or you guys?
No, the first match was chosen by us.
Okay.
The thought process was that Brian has a lot of experience playing Colin, and so we thought that he might be able to take a couple of games off of Colin.
Okay. Brian's playing with a low top. He played a challenge match recently where he played a high top and played pretty well. Kind of curious why he's gone back to low top.
Well, Brian's has some issues with arthritis in his shoulder, I believe, after all these years of playing air hockey, and the low top allows him to hit shots in a way that I guess is lighter on his shoulder. So that's the main reason why he uses the low top. It's just necessity.
Okay.
I think he says it's easier for him to get pop on his shots without having to really engage his arm as much.
Okay.
But it definitely does hurt his puck control.
Right, and that's kind of what my thinking is you're playing against the best player in the world right now, and you can't really afford to be losing pucks.
Right.
You got to make every possession count.
Because Colin certainly will.
Right, and he's got great puck control, so he's going to snag those loose pucks that you're missing.
It's already 6-2.
Oof.
Colin this game.
Well, and that's probably vintage Colin too, is just getting ahead in a game, getting a lot of points in a row, pot shots.
Yeah, just an absolute blitzkrieg.
Nice cut.
Just that cut right there.
Yeah, real smooth release. So every game begins with a face-off in the Carter Cup. Colin won the first face-off, and it looks like he just won the second one as well. And there's that cut. Carter Cup was created back in the early 90s by Don James, a veteran player, along with myself and Owen Geraldo. And it's intended to highlight not just team competition in air hockey, but also it tries to add more skill and strategy. Skill because you're adding in face-offs every single game, and a face-off is a skill way to begin a game.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just flipping a coin or switching sides and then you get the puck just because it's the other side. And then the strategy is that roster, that big sheet that we saw at the beginning. You fill it out with your opponents in almost like a draft type order. And there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. Who do you want to avoid? What matchups do you not want? There was Colin's pot shot right there.
Colin's is up 5-0 this game.
I've just been talking for a second. He's already up 5-0.
5-0, yeah. Just absolute domination by Colin. But good left wall under there by Brian.
Oh, looked like he was trying a Viper.
Right, that was one very interesting part of the process. But before the Carter Cup, we had a big team meeting over Zoom, where we both teams went through and we selected our matchups and took turns basically drafting. And that was a very interesting process because you have to think about match order, who you want to play when, momentum. Very interesting dynamic that I've never experienced in air hockey before.
Yeah. Puck's flying a bit here. Curious if maybe they might want to try a different puck or sand this one down. It also just might be some jitters.
Yeah.
A lot of times in air hockey, you hit the puck off because you just don't hit it correctly. You don't hit it smoothly.
Yes. And Colin, because he's so smooth, is a bit deceptive, I think. He's hitting that puck very hard. Good stop by Colin.
Yeah, and the cut.
And that cut.
7-2, 7-2.
Yes.
Oof. And so Colin does a
French Open.
Yeah, we call that the French Open, where he just pulled back and just waited for Brian to hit the puck over to him.
That's one of my favorite opens. I find that against less experienced players, you can get the puck almost every time using that. Not that Brian's a less experienced player. It works in other situations too. But if I'm playing,
That was a nice, quick cross straight by Colin. So sort of what we would call a boom boom. He tries an off-speed cross. One person I see get that shot very often is Danny Hynes.
Good right wall under there by Colin works because Brian's worried about that cut. Colin really has a great deceptive right wall under, just like that.
So when you say it's deceptive, what do you think is coming?
You think a cut or even a left wall is coming because of the way he's pulling his arm towards the left.
Yeah.
There's that cut right there.
I think it's it looks like it's going to be a left wall under. I think that's accurate. Brian he's the proverbial bird flying in the wind against a blizzard.
Blizzard.
Well, yeah, it just came to mind. Maybe a hurricane is more. Oh my God!
Amazing stop.
What a great catch.
Phenomenal. Let's take another look at that. Colin just knows exactly where to be.
Yeah, and just smooth. He wasn't like erratic or
complete.
Just
composure.
Just here, I'm going to stop the puck.
Colin is definitely in what we would call flow right now. Obviously, I'm on the other team, So I don't necessarily like seeing my opponent beat my teammate this badly, but it is.
But you can appreciate
watching
great
this,
air
it
hockey.
is beautiful air hockey by Colin.
Yeah, and that's the same shot. It looks like it's going to be a left wall under, and that's
7-2,
7-2, 7-2.
So definitely a demoralizing way for
To
my
start
team
off.
to start. Yes.
And take a look at the
puck control by Colin.
Yeah, puck control really high for Colin. We've been doing these stats for a number of matches, and I think that's the highest we've seen.
Yes.
Of course, it's a small sample size; it's 3 games, but still the highest number we've seen. And I guess the big difference here is the number of turnovers that Brian has versus Colin. You know, if you're only scoring 15% of the shots that you take, you know, versus your opponent scoring 46%.
Well, and Colin uses a lot of off goals too, and he's still at that 46%.
Yeah,
Got 38% cuts by Colin, 29% right wall under.
Wow. That's that right wall under that you were saying kind of seems like it might be a left wall. Interesting.
Yeah. So Colin really was just running a very basic attack.
Cut right wall under is you would think it might be you know, looking at that graph.
Well, Colin, of course, you know, is probably based most of his game around me, watching me for years.
Right. So again, the turnovers, twice as many turnovers for Brian. Colin won all the face-offs, and Brian, you know, he got blown off the table, unfortunately.
Shell shocked.
Yeah, shell shocked. No. So that'll give the team double tap 1 Carter Cup point heading into the next round.
Colin definitely making a firm statement.
Yeah.
About what he wants to do.
Okay, and here's you versus Vince Sauceda. You guys have a bit of a rivalry.
For sure.
This is going back for a number of years now.
2016.
Wow.
2016.
What started in 2016?
We both finished Master for our first time and played in the end of the 9 through 12 bracket in the finals.
Oh, yes. Who won that?
I won that. Okay. Went to the 7th game in which I 7-0 Vince.
Ooh.
But yes, and then it's gone back and forth ever since then.
Yeah.
Vince in 2018 completely blew me away, and I think at Texas State 4-0'd me. 2019, I beat him in the winner side of the tournament, and he beat me in the loser in the semifinals.
So notice you're putting your hands. You were kind of looks like you're trying to calm yourself down here.
Yes, I'm very nervous going into this match. I always feel a pressure to perform against Vince. I know he's a very strong, powerful player. He's very quick out the gate. And so I've had experience with Vince where if I'm not on, Vince just completely steamrolls me.
Well, there's the added pressure. Vince scored himself. There's the added pressure of being in a team competition where, you know, if you lose, you don't just have to take it yourself. You're hurting another. I'm not sure. You might have snagged that, but I think he scored on himself.
He scored on himself there.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and I know that Colin is the best player in the world. He's most likely going to win all 3 of the singles matches. So I know I have to do something to equalize that for my team. And on paper, right in this match, in the entire Carter Cup, in singles, Vince is the one who would be most likely.
He scored on himself a 3rd time?
3 times. To beat me in singles or to force a tie.
Right, and so let's talk about that. I don't think we've mentioned that. In the singles matches, it's the first to win 3 games. However, there's only 4 games potentially played. So if it goes 2-2, then the singles match ends up as a tie, as a beautiful cross. And the match it becomes a tie. Oh, wow. That was a fast reflex there. Let's take a look.
A little less graceful than Colin, but of course I hit the puck much harder than Colin's. It's coming back at me with
so much speed.
Was 300 miles per hour of just force.
Wow. Anyhow, so if a singles match ties at 2 games each team gets half a card cut point as opposed to getting a full point. So it's singles is a little bit more pressure in a sense.
Yes, it's very intense pressure. I mean, it's almost the only time I've experienced pressure like I did in these singles matches was, in a finals at a Worlds or a semifinals at a Worlds. It's very intense.
Yeah, I mean, look, your hands, your arms shaking. You're going into
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn style. All right, let's see. You try to settle yourself and wonder if it worked.
And Vince has scored on himself 3 times this game. So this is the kind of game, it's a have to get at the high-end level of air hockey for me.
Okay, and that was nice setup and release. That looked much more centered. So I'm saying that what you did in resting and taking a few breaths was good. Good defense. 6-5. It's a mishit by Vince. Oh, okay. There it was.
Well under. Yeah. So I managed to not be cut in half.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, and like I was saying, I don't think I was playing stellar air hockey that game, but when your opponent scores on himself 3 times.
Right, if you don't win that game, then it's going to be really frustrating. Yeah. It's a good cut.
Notice what I'm doing here with my mallet on defense by holding it around the top is I'm trying to steady myself a bit more. Vince tends to be very deceptive, and I think I overcommit on defense and move too much. And so I'm trying to keep myself steady like a rock.
You just look at the look on Vince's face. He's so calm. He doesn't look like anything is concerning at all. He's just collected and cool.
Yes. I was just out of position there.
Yeah. Seemed a bit rushed. I think that right wall under probably needs to have a little bit more marinate on it. That was a very marinated cut.
Marinated. Properly seasoned.
Yeah, it was properly seasoned. Yes, sir.
That was rushed.
Rushed. Yeah. A little better. I'm not sure if it was intended to be over. What? Yes? No?
It's one of my secret weapons.
Okay. Well, we'll take it.
A left wall under from me.
It's a good snag. That forehand didn't really look right. I think.
Yeah, I'm still trying to develop that shot.
Yeah. I think you need to. You have to open up your shoulder more on the right hand side.
I do have that cut.
Yeah. 6-4.
One thing I love about the cut is there are so many ways to hit that shot. So many different positions on the table.
For sure.
So yeah, so far this match, I'm not executing that right wall under correctly. Hitting it off the table.
Yeah, rushing it, telegraphing it. That's the kind of setup and release I think that Vince is at his best.
Exactly. There's certain cadence to
Yes,
it.
yes. Now that's a shot that could really tie together your attacks. I haven't seen that in a while. Left wall under. Like
Yeah,
that.
I've been working on that since the Worlds.
Okay.
First face off, I lost this match. I was up 2-0, and so I decided I would try a bit of a riskier face off. I would just try to score on the face off.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good attempt, good play. Just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Vince, his setup is looking a little bit smoother here. Yeah.
That was a little bit of a Viper from
Yeah,
Vince.
the opposite side, but yes.
The reverse Viper.
Yes. I don't
know
what you call
what's the opposite of a Viper.
Viper. I don't know.
Cobra?
Yeah. Or mongoose. Maybe it's a mongoose.
I'm still very keyed up, very nervous.
But you're in a good position. Vince has to win 2 games before you win one.
And I have a guaranteed half point for my team, but I really want to get that full point.
Sure. There was that left wall again. It's good shot.
Yes.
Great shot, actually. And his own left wall, of course, it was power side, but. Transition. This game looks like it's more competitive than the first two. It just obviously the score says that, but just the way it looks, both of you guys seem to be playing well. Another transition. Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's where you need to just turn off the transition.
Right, yeah, and just let the puck come to you at that point. Yeah. I like when Vince slows down like that.
Yeah.
This speed makes me worry if I were playing against him.
Yeah, great cross by Vince. Yeah, see, I got it, but
you had to consciously tell yourself.
That was a good left wall under. Vince had a great block there. Vince just barely missing that shot.
Yeah. Vince has a great knack for the angles in air hockey. He's able to get behind your mallet so quickly because he's choosing a great angle.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, Vince is kind of like a master marksman.
Yeah.
Sniper.
He is. He's the air hockey sniper.
If I was coaching myself, take it down just a notch here. Left wall under.
Miss hit. That's not common to see that much of a miss hit from Vince. 5-5. Oof.
Good get by Vince.
He almost scored himself.
Barely missed that cross.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was just about to say you look like you're hunching forward in almost just waiting to leap after a puck.
Yes, instead of
Instead of playing defense, which obviously you become more susceptible to that type of under bank. Ooh, scoring yourself.
Yeah. It was a weird deflection.
Yeah. Okay, so now Vince, if he gets this game, he's going to tie the match, and then each team's going to get half a point. Mm-hmm. So you went back to the face-off strategy you did in the first 2 games. Got it. There's a much better time delay on that, right while under. Oh, yeah.
Starting to feel a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I'd go for it a third time if I were you. Good idea. Good idea. All right, so being up 3-0 is an interesting position. I always think in air hockey it's great. You want to be there, but it's also sort of dangerous because we have a tendency to let down a little bit.
Exactly.
And then if our opponent comes back and ties it up, then we can be deflated.
Yes.
4-1.
So I'm 3 points away
Mm-hmm.
from winning the set. 3 points are worth half a Carter Cup point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a good block by Vince. I think that was a decent cut by me.
Mm-hmm. Again, Vince looks. It was a great cross. Vince looks unfazed, even being down. 3 points now, 2 points. Looks completely focused.
Just need a little more seasoning on that left wall.
This is the kind of
the
setup that you don't want to see. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
A sick cross straight.
Well, it's nice because he set it up, but with the previous setup itself.
Yeah, I'm just trying to force that right wall under right now.
Mm-hmm. Vince getting a little time here by having the ref wipe down the table. I'm sure there's already a lot of sweat on this table.
Yes. It's 4-3 now.
It's a good get, Vince.
Yes.
He doesn't get it. I don't know that he gets as much credit as he probably deserves for his ability to snag pucks.
Yeah, he's a very good snagger.
Mm-hmm.
I need a lot more time delay here. I'm just trying one of his patented quick little shots right after timeout's called in.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4-4 now. Vince hits the puck. mishit that.
You missed it, but I like it. I like
Yeah.
shifting it up a little bit here. 'Cause it seems like, after going up 3-0, then 4-1, you've kind of gotten stagnant. You mix it up a little bit, try something. Yeah. And of course, that it led to a point. 5-5. Oof.
He's trying to force that right ball under again.
It's good snag.
Take it down just a little hair here.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was in.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, the cross straight. Have you done any cross straights this match?
I've tried hitting several, but they've all missed.
6-6.
That time I set it up like it would be a cut, and then I hit a cross off of it.
The timeout's been called. It's 6-6.
It's worth that point.
Yeah, whoever wins this point, not whoever. Yeah, whoever wins this point is getting a half a Carter Cup point. Danny's telling you something.
Yeah,
some sort of advice.
Team heir apparent secret.
A secret. Okay. Let's see.
Secret advice.
Oh.
Very effective.
Drew him out. Drifted that puck further out towards the line. A little bit more of a delay. Vince came out. That's huge. That was a really, really big point. So you guys get one Carter Cup point tying it up. Let's take a look at the stats here. A little difference. Vince's puck control a little less. He's turning it over a little bit more than you. It's probably worth a couple points in the match. I don't know how many. But around the 73 to 75 mark is what we've seen most, high-end players with puck control. Successful shots. You're only at 20%, but you were also missing a lot of shots and getting them back. Whereas his shot accuracy we already know is very high in general. And wow, that huge blue part of Vince's graph, left wall unders. Over half of his scoring shots were left wall unders. I mean, if I was coaching you or Vince, if I was coaching Vince, I'd say try something a little left.
Well, what's crazy is 57% left wall under, 0% cut.
Yeah, that is. It's interesting. Well, it's interesting that it continues to score. So I wonder what it looks like to you. What is it you think it is? Face-off wins 3-1. That self-scores by Vince in game one was huge. Probably a massive part of the game, of the match. Similar turnovers. It was a tough match.
I mean, 2-point difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 23 points to 21. Wow.
Yeah, always like that with me and Vince.
So here we go. Match 3 in singles. Danny Hynes versus Marcos Quintanilla. Danny gets the face-off right away. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Marcus is a very intense player. He brings a lot of focus and energy to his matches. I've seen him play a challenge match a number of times and just been really impressed by what he brings to the table.
Very intense. I love all of his grunts, and he loves talking to the puck. It's fantastic.
Now, in my line of work, anybody who's talking to inanimate objects, I'm probably,
Well, that's your issue. You don't understand the puck's a living life force.
Okay. You whisper sweet nothings to it.
And one thing about Marcus is he's a shorter player, and so he will tend to hit shots further back on the table, and those will be deceptive. That's an angle you're not used to seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes me think of like Albert Ortiz, Robert Hernandez. They hit a lot of shots from further back, and it's awkward because you know on defense you're used to seeing specific angles.
Exactly. Oh, great right wall under.
It was a good time delay. It looked like it was going to be.
If Marcus wants to beat Danny, and I was in his ring, I would say that under right is what you need.
And there's Danny finishing a shot from someone else. That's a classic Danny. So frustrating when you execute a shot and then it's not that they block it, but they finish your own shot for you coming back at you.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. Colin will do that.
Yeah. You do that. I think Danny sort of pioneered just that, and maybe Will Upchurch before him. And he was known for that. Whereas I, even though I had started the interference defense, it wasn't so much to slam the puck back at someone as much as just to disrupt and get control of it.
Right.
Like there he is again. Whoa. And it's so hard to do what Danny does on defense, but also play great defense. And I think that's why he's got, such a high level defense.
And Danny's interesting in that a lot of top best of all time players I've talked to, Billy Stubbs, even Jesse Dowdy, emphasize offense far more than defense and just talk about offense. Danny emphasizes defense. He thinks about defense. That was one of the very interesting elements of having him coaching me throughout the Carter Cup. That you've traditionally been my main coach in air hockey, always emphasizing offense. Danny would be constantly telling me some things about defense.
Interesting. Yeah, my philosophy always has been
all over by Marcus.
It was great. There's always been that if you focus on offense and you get your offense rolling, you don't have to think or worry about defense.
Right.
Because you're just going to be scoring enough. And when your opponent is on their heels, it's much harder for them to get something going against you.
Right. I think, though, when you get to a certain level, for instance, me versus Colin, Colin's going to block. He just is going to block a certain percentage of shots. And he turns it into kind of a war of attrition.
Right.
So then you're in a position where you, I think, kind of need to get your defense in line.
Yeah. No, and I certainly get it. I mean, I understand.
Off-speed cross by Danny.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I think it's almost a psychological thing from me. Whoa.
See this again. It was a great left wall under.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
See, so he's hitting this interestingly where he's almost doing the cut type motion where he's swiping to the right. I think that can be a really deceptive way to hit a left roll under that a lot of people don't hit it back. But Danny still gets the game.
Marcus shows that he's going to be competitive, though. You wouldn't predict that it would be a competitive match just on paper with Danny, being 11-time world champion, currently ranked number 5, and Marcus, ranked 15th. But he's putting up a very good fight here.
Yes, he is. And Marcus does not get intimidated.
Right.
He really does not. He'll get upset if you're scoring on him, but he still, you can tell he still has a certain presence on the table where he's approaching it saying, I can beat you. I'm going to beat you. It's amazing to see Danny still able to compete at this level. Top 5 in the world right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, just honestly, right, past his prime.
Right, yeah.
But still able to compete at
a high level.
One of the upper echelons of air hockey.
And
it was interesting for me to be a part of this because I've always, when I was coming up in air hockey, it was very, you versus Danny were the two kind of sides about who's the GOAT, who's the best of all time. And obviously as your son, I was very, and still I do believe, right, you are the best of all time.
That's correct. You better believe that.
But, and so there was a part of me, obviously, that was, I guess implicitly would kind of be rooting against Danny. Danny was the other side.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Of the air hockey community or whatever. And so really it was just a great experience for me this weekend. I've grown closer with Danny over the years, and I feel like this kind of firmly cemented that, being on a team with him and having him in my corner.
Sure, yeah.
And rooting for me. And I've always said that even though I think you're the best, Danny is kind of right there, right behind you, just a little bit in terms of best of all time. And this weekend really, it made me appreciate the fact that maybe for your era you were the best, but for Danny's era he was the best.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
And he's such a just amazing player.
Yeah. Well, and I've stated it a number of times. I think that Danny has to have the title of greatest of all time right now, and it's mainly because of his longevity.
Right. Yeah.
I think that when I went on, my run, I think that it's good. I think the argument is pretty solid that it's the most dominant run in history. I won 28 major tournaments in a row in a 5-year period, won 9 world championships in a row. And so I think at that time, but it was like a candle burning brightly. It burns shorter. And I think that probably is probably the case. And Danny's just been at a high level for so long. And I think the biggest thing for me when it comes to considering Danny as a great player is when he had to change mallets. When his finger, lost all the cartilage and he wasn't able to use his regular mallet, and he switched to a mallet with part of the knob cut out, and Danny wins that one. And still was able to win a title. So I think that was key.
Right, and that's Danny is the most indomitable player of all time.
I don't know what that means.
He's the most persevering player.
Oh,
he has the greatest indomitable spirit.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
of any player.
Interesting.
Right, he's always there on the table, always fighting.
Right. No matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he just sheer force of wills him his way into a lot of these.
Sure. Well, at the last
incredible.
Worlds, when Keith Fletcher had him down, Danny didn't, and he pulled something out from way down deep and was able to to come back.
Well, and Danny has such a jovial spirit. Like on our team, he was definitely the linchpin of our team spirit.
Mm-hmm.
He kept us going. He kept us in a good frame of mind no matter what was happening, as we'll see throughout these videos. And so really, I just wanted to emphasize that it was an absolute honor to be on his team, to have him coaching me.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll predict that having Danny as a coach will help your game immensely get to an even higher level.
Yes.
Because you're gonna get slightly different perspectives and things that you can pull from, and I think that's how all great players, develop. Is they take a little from this and a little from that person, a little from that person, and they develop their own unique, synthesized version of air hockey.
So here, Danny seems like he's been trying to work the straights a lot, working a cut and a cross. I wonder if that's because Danny he wants to get some sort of energy.
Maybe. One thing we should mention is in Carter Cup, anyone on your team can call timeout when a timeout is legally able to be called. And so frequently a teammate will call timeout when they see their player on the table maybe needs some advice. I think that's what happened there.
Interesting to see.
Yeah, how it turned out.
If the advice worked. Danny's up this game. Marcus has to win 2 in a row.
And that's the shot that you had said earlier he would need to have.
Yeah, that right well under.
I'm curious if that's what his team told him.
And he says, "Well, I'll just score this cross." Cut was open. Some good recovery here by Marcus. Marcus feels like a player who just needs, she would say, a little more marination. And it would for sure be a solid top 10 player, like solid mid, like 7th, maybe 6th, 8th.
Well, he's definitely getting it in San Antonio. Those guys practice a lot.
Yes.
They've got a great community there for air hockey.
When you say San Antonio practices a lot, I think you mean Doug Howard practices a lot, and
then gets them to
come play with him.
Yeah. I think Danny topped the puck there and called it on himself.
Ooh, just missed. Ooh.
It was over, I think.
It was. Yeah. It was good. It was a good right wall over there. Mm-hmm. That's a deadly shot if you can hit a right wall over from. Ooh. Danny, one of his kind of patented chase forehands. Marcus just picks off that cut. It feels like Marcus is finally kind of.
Marcus calls a foul on himself.
That's a huge foul to call on yourself.
Yeah,
very good sportsmanship by Marcus. Very honorable player. Feels like Marcus is starting to develop an attack now against Danny, but it'd be interesting to see if it's too late.
Yeah. It might not be too late to get this game, but I don't know if he'll be able to keep it going because Danny's going to adjust.
Because Danny will adjust on defense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Danny is one of the greatest defensive adjusters of all time. Good stop by Marcus.
Oh, not a time for a self-score. He's pushing that cut. I don't know that that's the way to hit that cut. I think you need to swipe at it.
Swiping it, exactly. Danny was there for that under. And there's
Since
that
that-
intensity.
Yeah.
Talking about with Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah, he more of a swipe there.
Danny was the quick.
I think it was a left wall under.
It was a cross straight.
Oh man, I really
yeah, it's a cross straight.
Wow. All right, great match. Let's take a look at the stats here and see what they tell us. Not much different here between them in terms of puck control. Again, around this 72, 74 range is where we find most of the high-end players currently in their matches. This is a big difference, though. Marcus only scoring 15% of his shots that he
Danny
executed.
with more turnovers, though.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess he wasn't if he didn't score, then he was giving it up.
Wow. Almost half of Danny's scoring shots were cuts.
Wow.
And then the second biggest was those crosses. So really, like I was saying, Danny just running that straight attack against Marcus. If you can get a player into a position where you can beat him with just straights, that's
game over.
Yeah,
game over.
Seems like Marcus started to find that right wall under near the end, but wasn't quite able to create a consistent attack off of it.
Right.
Still very close in points.
Yep. Those self scores were really big. 7-6 that last game. If he didn't score himself, that could have easily gone the other way.
Marcus with the majority of the face-offs, though, against a great player like Danny. Very good.
Yeah, that's a great showing. It's hard to beat someone on face-offs who's been doing it for so long. And so, so the heir apparents are now 2-1 in Carter Cup points. Got Doug Howard versus Jacob Munoz. Now, these guys have a little history recently. They played at the World Championship just recently, and it went 7 games, I think.
I was getting ready for my next match and trying to just focus on my...
Well, before you say that, he starts off with his Viper shot. I just want to note that.
I noticed
he's trying to set the tone.
Yes. So I'm not actually sure, but I heard through the grapevine at the tournament that it was super close.
Okay.
That Doug Howard, I think, was up like 6-4 or something on Munoz, and Munoz came back and won.
Yeah, I think I heard something about maybe Doug scoring more points total.
Yes.
Even though he lost the match. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so this is a big match for both of them.
Yeah.
Can Munoz prove that he is in fact top 3 level player, and that because I really think he has come a ways since even the Worlds. Ooh, it's a good little cross there.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the type of setup that he just did, Munoz. That's the kind of setup I would encourage him to do more of. Is tap the puck, or kind of like circle it around.
Doug scoring himself.
And then execute his shot off of that rhythm. He's a
rhythm player.
He's a rhythm player. He's a musician. He plays the guitar. You can kind of tell that rhythm, that smoothness. It's very artistic. Oh,
Doug, an artistic player himself. I mean, he is. Oh,
yeah, for sure. Doug's very artistic. He's got crazy, interesting angles that he hits. Angles that you just don't typically see other players using.
You always know it's Doug playing.
Yes. Yeah, you could tell. Like if you had silhouette, just a silhouette, you'd see him playing, you'd know that's Doug Howard. Nice.
Doug Howard, Doug and Jacob Munoz, actually, both players who have a very stolid character on the table. Very measured, calm, cool, collected.
Yeah. beautiful left wall over. The accuracy, Doug's accuracy is just so good.
Yeah, he's incredibly accurate. Munoz looks like he's kind of trying to get into it still. Ooh, good transition there. I like Doug's little rhythm he does whenever he's scored on. He taps the top of the goal twice with the puck before putting it on the table.
Yeah.
Ooh. Viper. Too Viper. Too much Viper.
Too much.
6-6.
Tables off. A little bit more drama.
These 6-6s are massive in a format like this. Goal action.
Jacob Munoz does a lot of off goals.
He does. And it worked.
Oh, and the right wall over.
Off goal to the cross side, off goal cut, right wall over. Yeah, for a player who is very rhythmic, very intuitive, he gets methodical when he needs to. There's kind of characteristic Doug angle where he's going. He's, entire body is right of the goal right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, I remember playing a challenge match against Doug, and you just...
He literally ended your air hockey career.
He retired my career. Well, I don't know if he was the one or I was the one, but yeah, just too long of a match for my arm.
Good on Doug's part, kind of slowing it down there after you got into that kind of frenzy of trying to get the puck back.
Yeah, and you notice him there just slowing it down, and that's those angles, man. A left wall under when he's just in this. I don't know. It's hard to fathom how he gets the puck to do it.
San Antonio really has a lot of angles if you think about it.
Yes, it's
Vince
true.
has crazy angles. Marcus has those angles just from being a shorter player than Doug, and obviously Colin too.
Yeah, but there's something specifically more unique about Doug's angles.
Yes.
And Vince is the only one of those four that I think demonstrates that somewhat. But Doug will. It's not just that he hits the angle, but it's how his arm in his hand is before he shoots that just doesn't. It's very deceptive, like that. I mean, it looked so much like it was going to be left wall.
One interesting thing about Munoz is he's short, but he doesn't exclusively hit the puck from far back. He'll hit it from closer to the center line.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, there's that angle.
Far right side of the table.
Far right, left wall under.
Oof.
The deadly shot. Ooh, good little get there by Munoz. Viper.
I think it might have been over. I'd have to watch the replay. It was a great shot.
Some sort of vibe. It was some sort of.
It was a snake-like
creature.
Yes.
I love how fluid Munoz's game is. I think it's one of my favorite games to watch.
Yeah, when he gets into a rhythm. Munoz, I think his next area of development, I think, is it's beautiful. Is doing an attack.
Right.
He still tends to just be shooting great shots from all over the table, which is nice. But I think you got to be using an attack to win at the very highest levels.
That's a classic Munoz where he scores that 7th shot
And
and
he's
he's already on the other side of the table
table.
before the opponent realizes he's been scored on.
Yes.
And both these players, I would say, maybe do a little too much variety.
Yes. No, I agree with that.
Variety is great,
Yes.
but you want to create a consistent attack you can run against your opponent.
Sure. I mean, if you have 3 elite level shots that pair well together, you can win the championship if you got good defense, great defense. You don't necessarily need all of those shots. I think 4 or 5 great shots, is awesome, and it certainly is going to be beneficial. So you can switch up attacks if your opponent starts to adapt. But if you're going to use 8 different shots throughout and not necessarily pair them in an attack, I'm not sure how far that takes you in the end.
So Munoz is up 2-0 here.
Yeah, so we're in a position. Doug's got to win 2 games before Jacob wins 1 in order to tie it up.
Yep. This is big.
Oh yeah.
Our team is up by 2 points going into the second set, or only 1 point.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. You almost got
Just
that
barely
over.
missing 2 shots. Ooh.
That's that artistic rhythm touch cut that I think is so great that he has.
It's a little similar to Colin's cut.
Oh yeah, it's very similar to Colin's
quite
cut. Yeah,
similar. And I mean, Munoz has based a lot of his game on
yeah,
Colin.
yeah.
Oh, Doug.
Called a goaltend on himself. That's a massive call to make on yourself.
Yes.
Props to Doug for being honorable.
Very honorable. So you've said it many times, and I agree. It's one of the things I love about air hockey is how honorable the culture is.
Yes, it's a cultural thing in the community. It's been demonstrated by the high end players for years, and then modeled that way. And so people that come up through the sport sort of learn that that's the way you do it.
Yep.
Line calls are the only ones that are, sometimes like I'll know if I'm over the line for the most part, but there's times I'm not completely sure.
Viper.
Viper side.
Viper.
So you have to sort of rely on the ref then in that circumstance. But yeah.
Charge there by Munoz.
That's one thing I would say. It was a great cross. Is I think Jacob charges too much. Needs to work on that part of his game. There's a fine line between wanting to get after loose pucks and pushing forward on shots all the time.
What do you think Munoz's best shot is, and why is it the Viper?
Yeah, it's a fast one. See, he could pair that would be if he could get that as a right wall over and pair that with the Viper and the cut. Boy, he's
yeah, that. He just has so many shots.
Yes, we were just talking about maybe too much variety, maybe not. Maybe he needs more. Just keep coming up with shots. Oh my gosh. I feel bad for Doug in a way. I mean, because Jacob is just on an absolute roll right now. He's feeling it. I wonder what Danny's going over to tell him. Just do what you're doing.
Probably telling Munoz, doing great, but let's not get too cute. Let's just end this.
Yeah.
It was one very interesting element of this whole experience is every player has a different psychology and figuring out the coaching advice that works best for every player.
Yeah.
Very well, Munoz. Doug can capitalize.
Yeah, and he gets across.
Boom, boom.
And he ends it with the Viper.
Yeah.
He began with the Viper, and he ended with the Viper. As it
Yeah.
sort of bookended it. Wow. All right. Let's see. Looks like Doug was turning it over a little more. His puck control's a little less than Jacob's. It's not huge, but it's probably worth a few points in the match.
He was right in that 72 to 74% range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see
Yeah.
Doug's accuracy lower than what you would expect. Normally, he's usually, I would say, more accurate. And so maybe Jacob was just interfering a little bit more than he's used to. Wow, look at Jacob's chart. I mean, it's almost a completely even pie all the way around.
Yes.
And I'm not, it looks great. I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe that's
right.
the way, 10%, 10%, 10%, 11%, 11%.
Doug, that cross was his.
Yeah, it was his
main
bread and
shot.
butter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very close on the points.
Yeah, super close. Closer than I guess the result appeared. I think it started so close, and then it was a big swing to lose that first game, and then Jacob just sort of
kind of progressively.
got more confident and picked it up, and a couple of self scores by Doug.
Yeah,
that was harsh.
But Doug winning most of the face-offs. Doug is a good face-off player.
Yeah. Let's see where we're at in our match. This big old sheet looks like we've got the heir apparents with 3 Carter Cup points to 1 for double tap. And that was awesome. We will see you guys back for round 2 doubles. Thanks for watching.